Good evening and welcome to the ABC Cinema Shaftesbury Avenue, where we're awaiting the royal premiere of Superman 3. Well, tonight I'm joined by Susan King, who's doing a spot of stargazing and keeping an eye on the arrivals and the presentations.
That's right. Well, the premiere is in aid of two charities, the Variety Club of Great Britain, whose entire concern is the welfare of handicapped or deprived children, no matter what colour, race, creed or background, and the newspaper Press Fund, who aid journalists and their dependents, however they can help, from pensions through people suffering from hardship through bereavement, from unemployment and the bringing up of children. In fact, however they can help, they do.
Hey, don't forget the opera glasses in there.
I don't need glasses. I've got a fly.
Fly? Fly, I think I get it. Well, their Royal Highnesses, Prince and Princess Michael of Kent, will be arriving in about half an hour's time to enjoy yet again the exploits of Clark Kent, alias Superman, and the staff of the Daily Planet as they hit the headlines once again in more deeds of daring do. Is it a bird? Is it a plane? No, it's the man himself, Christopher Reeve. Christopher, welcome. And can we start away from Superman for a moment? You seem to devote a lot of your time to theatre work. Why is that?
Well, I enjoy film, though. There's always the curiosity that I think every actor has, or many actors do, of doing the whole thing at once. Can you sustain the whole idea, the whole arc of the play for 2.5 hours in front of real people? And you can't be saved by music. You can't be saved or even destroyed, actually, by clever cutting. And there's a sense of immediacy that the actor and the audience are happening at the same time. Sometimes if you stay too long just making films, I think you forget what it's like to really perform. You know, you forget the contact with the people who are eventually going to see it, and I find that theatre refreshes me in that regard.
Now, it's probably your theatrical background, but I know you place a lot of emphasis on research.
Right.
What sort of research can you do for a character like Superman, who's a comic strip hero?
Well, you can't go to Krypton, and you certainly can't talk to any survivors because the planet apparently exploded and nobody lived. I was sent piles of comic books when I first got the part, and I thought, well, I'll dutifully plow through them all and learn something. But it didn't do me any good because I realized I had to start afresh and try to make a Superman for this generation, starting from this concept and using myself. So really, I just used my basic optimism and a certain romanticism and hopefully a sense of humor and worked from there.
Now, this is the third Superman movie, and each time you've tried to develop it. So what can we look for in terms of development in this one?
Where do we go in this one? We go more into Clark Kent when he doesn't have to sort of do all the shtick, the things that he has to do at the Daily Planet, and we go through a certain crisis with Superman as he becomes temporarily ill, and his personality changes. I think those are two of the highlights.
Without giving too much away, it seemed to me that you were playing not just one part, not even two parts, but three parts, because you were playing Clark Kent,
right,
Superman as we know him, and this rather nasty Superman alter ego character.
Yeah, he's just unwell. He'll recover. You know, he's just having a bad day.
Away from Superman, what do you do to relax?
What do I do to relax? I fly gliders, I ski, I play the piano, play with my son Matthew, work in the theater, what else? Sail my boat. I have a lot of toys, I've just realized that. I do 10 toys that take me up in the air and out in the water. I commute back and forth between London and New York, where we have homes in both places. Things like that.
Now, when I read that you're fairly interested in youth projects in New York, I wondered, how do you reconcile that with the obvious stardom and the obvious adulation? Is that a problem?
No, I think there's something you can offer, whether you're a star or whether you're just an average person. But a star actually is an average person, you know, and there's a lot of things to be done. Help is needed, and it would be a waste if I didn't take advantage of my position to do something for. I do work for juvenile diabetes. I do work for the American Medical Association. I do work for Special Olympics. But these are things that I think I would do anyway whether I'd played Superman or not. It's all work that needs to be done.
Now, this may not be the time to bring it up, but this disturbing rumor that you don't really want to play Superman again, is that definite from your point of view?
That's very old news. I hate to disillusion you, but we all agreed back in 1981. It's only just coming out now. People really need to realize that this is the end. See, we've used all the powers. We've become evil, we've flown, we've loved, we've stopped the world and gone backwards, all those things. And I think you must quit on a roll, rather than flog it to death and have it all become derivative the way that it does on television. These are three unique, well thought out, well executed movies that I think will leave a good taste with the public, and I don't want to see that ruined by continuing past the point of satisfaction.
Well, there's only one comparison that I would draw. I've always thought of Sean Connery as James Bond.
Yeah.
He is James Bond. You are Superman, and of course Sean is just coming back to the Bond role. But if you decided to do that, it would have to be fairly soon, because Superman is a youthful character.
Oh, subtle. All right. Yes, I'm getting too old for the part. No, it's not really that. It's just that we've done it. You know what I mean? And you're always looking for new things to do, new horizons. But this is a decision reached by the director, the producers, the writers, all at the same time. Is that let's not ruin a good thing.
Well, it says in her character notes that she bellows like the top sergeant major she'd secretly like to be. It can't be Annie Ross, can it?
It can. It is.
You are playing quite an amazing character in this, Annie.
Yes.
Vera Webster.
Yes. I mean, she really thinks that she's very chic. She's not really. She's more like, well, they say in the press release, she's like Joseph Stalin.
Now, you actually started your career right in show business at the day of birth, didn't you?
Yes, I did. My family was in show business, and I was on the boards from the age of 4.
Did you ever think about doing anything else?
Oh, yes. I mean, I always wanted to act, and I always wanted to be in films. And because I was raised in Hollywood, I think naturally I wanted to be part of that scene.
See, one of the problems whenever we talk about Annie Ross is everybody thinks of Annie Ross as a very, very good jazz singer.
Yes, well, maybe they'll start to think of me as a good actress. I hope so.
I'm absolutely certain they will, but what about the jazz? Because you've got an awful lot of fans out there.
Well, I've been doing parts of Penzance, and I can't really do anything, other than that at the moment. Mind you, I filmed this and did the show at night, but I wouldn't want to do that again. That was hard work.
That does sound a little bit like hard work. There's one scene in the movie, and I can't give anything away, but your makeup is quite amazing, and that's where you're, how can I describe this, computerized.
Actually, it wasn't makeup. I look like that.
No. Oh, no, she didn't, folks, I assure you. How long did it take you to get all of that on?
Well, I think we started about 7 in the morning, and it took till about 10:30, 11 o'clock of that same morning. So it took about 3.5 hours.
Girls! Stop! Hey! Yes?
Oh my God. What is that?
Well, he has been described as the Daily Planet's fearless flasher, but let me clarify that. He is, in fact, Clark Kent's photographer's sidekick, Jimmy Olsen or Mark McClure. Mark, were you a fan of Superman before you landed this role?
Yeah, all my life. I always watched the old Superman movies. Oh, yeah. I mean, it was very easy to do Jimmy Olsen because I knew so much about him.
Now, did you not want to play Superman?
I wanted to play Superman, and there was a conflict in my size and weight. And I told him I can work out just like Chris did, but it was a little touchy, so I settled for the Jimmy Olsen role, which was fine.
Can you tell us some of the other things that we might have seen you in over here?
Well, Freaky Friday.
That was the Jodie Foster.
Jodie Foster movie with Walt Disney, and there was California Fever, a series that I did for a while. And now I'm kind of branching out and playing music. We've got a band, Jimmy Olsen. And so maybe next time I come over, I'll have the music ready for everybody.
It's quite interesting that both you and Christopher have got a strong interest in music. In fact, I'm not sure with you whether I put music as a first interest.
I put, I like Superman as the first interest. I really like this whole project, and we're doing Supergirl now, and Jimmy Olsen's in that, and Lois Lane's younger sister, Lucy Lane's in there, and it's getting better and better, and it's getting funner and funner.
So it all continues. Well, we learn more of Jimmy Olsen in the Supergirl series.
Supergirl, yeah, Jimmy's got a girlfriend, and yeah, he's on his own. He's away from the Daily Planet, and yeah, as these movies continue, it seems like Jimmy Olsen's more exposed, which is good.
There's one part in tonight's film where you are involved in a fairly hefty stunt.
Yes, it was a very hot stunt, actually. I just did a bit of the later part of the stunt, as you will see. But yeah, the stuntman who's always done all the Superman movies, and he's doing Supergirl with me too. He got a little burned on that stunt, but he was okay, you know. It was very dangerous, and I love doing the stunts. I mean, with Supergirl, there seems to be a lot of action also, which I think everybody enjoys.
Now, whereas sort of Christopher is very anxious to branch out and do varied work, is that the same for you?
I would do super films, you know. If they always want me to come back, I will always do Superman films, because more Supergirl films or Super Dog films. Because I just really enjoy the subject a whole lot, and I love the characters. I think it's a real fun character to play.
You can't fly by any chance?
I can't fly, but I think by the time these sequels are done, I think Jimmy's going to have a couple tricks up his sleeve.
I think you could well be flying high after Supergirl.
I really hope so.
Thank you very much indeed, Mark.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sir, we better get out of here now. I'll show you the quickest way.
Go and look after the others. I can't leave here.
Why not?
I gotta stay and look after those. That's concentrated beltric acid. If that stuff heats up over 180 degrees, we've got a crisis on our hands. It'll make this fire look like a Sunday school picnic.
What does it do?
As long as it remains stable, it's just ordinary acid, no problem. But if it begins to heat up, it'll turn volatile. If that happens, you'll get a great cloud of smoke that'll lead through anything. Steel, concrete, anything.
I'm just going to get a couple more shots.
Well, I must say, some people are playing it very sensibly, and they're waiting outside probably until the last minute, until they come into this very hot cinema. I must say, it's probably the best place to be at this particular moment in time.
Well, with me now is probably the youngest person in the Superman cast, Paul Keitler. Have I pronounced that right, Paul?
Yes, you have.
What part do you play in the movie?
I play Ricky Lang, the son of Lana Lang, and Lana Lang is Clark Kent's girlfriend. That's what I play.
Now, I don't know very much about you, so you better tell me. Have you been in lots of movies?
No, this is the first one. Nothing else. Haven't been in anything.
And have you ever done any acting before this?
No, nothing.
Well, that seems to me like a very frightening experience. How was it?
Well, it's nerve-wracking. I still am nervous. It was a great experience.
Was Superman one of your heroes?
Not in real life, but Ricky was Superman's fan.
That's right, very much so. Have you taken much ribbing at school back in the States since you've been playing this role?
No.
They all accepted quite naturally that you're in a Superman film?
Yeah.
I find that absolutely amazing. Do you intend, though, to make acting a career?
Well, if it came along again, yes, I'd take it, but I wouldn't go out of my way to get a part, you know.
Well, the $64,000 question that a lot of our younger viewers will be asking is, how did he get a part in the movie if he wasn't in the acting business?
Well, the way I got a part was the company that did the film, they asked my school to get a boy for the part. So my teacher said I should try for it, and I tried. I got the part.
You never know. Whenever you grow up, you might well become Superman 4 if Christopher Reeve doesn't want to do it anymore.
True.
I hope you have a marvellous night here. And are you enjoying your stay in London?
Oh, yes, yes.
Thank you very much indeed.
Wait,
Come on, Ricky. Good luck.
I just can't stand this.
Oh, that'll be okay. No, believe me, I know. I was a late bloomer myself.
Well, it's not just that he's small for his age. How'd you like to be the only kid in town without a father? Oh, look. He stewed to the gills in the middle of the afternoon.
Gee, all he had was chocolate milk.
No, I mean him.
Hey, sweet thing. Little kid getting hassled, huh? Kent, you still here?
Well, I seem to be, Brad.
All the kid needs is a couple pointers from the old champ here. Well, Kent, bet you didn't know I won the all-country bowling championship 2 years in a row.
Gee, I didn't know that, Brad.
Yeah. Natural athlete can play any sport.
Brad, you're just gonna make it worse.
Sorry,
Clark,
Mother.
you'll make
You
it
okay?
worse.
You watch, he'll get a spare. Come on, Ricky. Hey, kid, look, you're holding it all wrong. Oh, come on, Brad, show you how it's done.
Brad? Excuse me. Say, Brad, I think maybe he'll be better off doing it his way.
Well, for a guy who was lucky to be water boy in the high school team, you sure got a big mouth, Kent.
Well, I just think maybe Ricky doesn't need a bowling lesson in front of all the other kids.
He needs a man to show him.
I think he's doing just fine on his own. Excuse me. Here you go, Ricky. And you give it your best shot. Okay? There you go. Oh, sorry.
Well, a bit like Superman, with me now is Nancy Roberts, who does have sort of a dual personality, because you're in the movie, Nancy, but you're also doing something else over here, aren't you?
Oh, yes, I am. I'm doing a series for Thames called Nancy at Large, which will be out in the fall.
Now, what's that all about?
Oh, that's me casting my observant New York eye on some typically British customs.
You found a few, have you?
I've found a few. How we buy our homes over here, how we spend our leisure time, several other things, but I'll keep you in suspense about those until the fall.
Is our lifestyle then very different from that in America?
It is very different. I think we believe that because we share a common language, more or less, that our lifestyle is the same, but it really isn't. I've lived here for many years, 14 years, so I've had time to note all of the differences.
You see, I've noticed that Christopher Reeve has bought a place over here and obviously likes it, and a lot of American stars are coming across. What about you? If you had a preference, which would it be? Or is that unfair?
That's very unfair. I'd live in both places if I could. I'd live back in New York, which is my home for part of the year, and I'd live here. But for now, I live here. I'm permanent.
Now, let's get back to Superman. What character do you play?
I play a mean and horrible social security clerk.
Oh, well, we've offended half the population.
Right up my alley. Someone who won't give Richard Pryor his money because he's been out of work for too long.
Now, is that the sort of part that you enjoy playing?
Well, absolutely, because it's so different from the me that I am. No, it was fun. I had a good time doing it. It was new for me, and I loved it, yes.
It's an interesting combination, this sort of presenting television programs in a sort of a presenter, reporter, interviewer vein, and being an actress. Do you have a preference where that's concerned?
Well, I started as an actress, really. I only got into television because I was very lucky, I think. I do not have a preference, not yet. I'd have to do a bit more of both to see if I'm going to choose one or the other. For the moment, I like them both.
Nancy Roberts, I assure you that if I ever have to collect the dough, I will avoid you like the plague. Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you, Peter. Yes, August Gorman. Have you looked for work this week, Mr. Gorman?
Yes.
What kind?
Kitchen technician.
Dishwasher? Any luck?
No, but...
Mr. Gorman, according to our record, you've been unemployed for 36 weeks.
No, it's 35.
Not counting this week. You secured employment last June as a messenger and were discharged after 1 day for losing...
No. See, they said I lost that. I did not lose it. It was stolen by a pickpocket.
A television set?
It was a teeny, weensy Japanese 2-inch television set. Anybody?
The only other employment you found was in a fast food joint, which lasted 28 minutes.
Well, that's some kind of record. Talk about fast.
Well, you know, those people are crazy. They expect you to learn that stuff in one day, right? I mean, like, hold the lettuce, hold the ketchup. Can I have some sauce, please? I don't want any sauce. Two buns, no buns, some cheese, no cheese.
Mr. Gorman, the city of Metropolis is generous to a fault. But
I'm not the fault.
36 weeks of chronic unemployment, 36 weeks of living off the taxes of hard-working citizens. Do you know what you are?
Don't call me a bum. I'm not a bum.
You are, I was about to say, no longer eligible.
Which has been described as blonde bombshell, breathtaking figure, genius IQ. It's got to be Pamela Stephenson. And I haven't even got to the character you play, Lorelei Ambrosia.
Lorelei Ambrosia, yes.
But she's not like that at all, Pamela.
She's really quite smart. She hides it a lot.
And Ambrosia, I had to refer to the old dictionary, was the foot of the gods, the Greek gods, that kept them, what, young forevermore?
And the goddesses, yes, kept them young forevermore.
Whenever you come to something like a part like this in Superman, do you see this as a character part or a comedian part, a comedy part?
Both. I mean, it's a character part because it's nothing like me, personally, and it's a comedy part because there's lots of comedy in it. I mean, it's quite a funny part. So it was great.
But see, everybody here knows you, obviously, the fame of not the 9 o'clock news, and I suppose in trying to type people, which we tend to do, we think, is Pamela Stephenson a comedy actress, a comedian, or a subtle combination of both?
Yes.
I'm glad I asked that question. Very much so. A bit like Annie Ross, you too were playing a double role during Superman, weren't you?
Yes, we were both appearing in Pirates of Penzance at night, so it was quite a... it was difficult to get enough sleep, actually, because we were at the studio at about 6 in the morning and didn't come down, the curtain didn't come down at night until 10:30, so it was a race. I used to race out of the theatre and my dresser used to grab my clothes off me and I used to throw the wig on the floor as I ran towards the door. And someone used to come make my breakfast in the morning so I could eat it on the way to the theatre.
Yes, I've got someone who makes my breakfast in the morning. It's the advantage of being married, really, I suppose. You trained as a very sort of serious actress in Australia. You toured Europe, looking at acting in Europe, and here you are.
You've been reading the paper.
I know I have. I hear you are sort of playing very sort of flippant parts and light parts. Is that you?
Oh yes, much more me than the serious stuff. I'm not into all that at all. It's not me.
I don't know, I can imagine 1 or 2 Shakespearean roles I can see you in.
Only if they had comedy in them. I'm very bad at ordinary... I mean, I'd be a terrible tragedian. See what I mean?
I'm glad you had to say that and not me. If you had a choice between the stage and cinema and television, do you have a preference?
Terrible. Nobody can ever answer that question. I'm so fickle. I like one... If I've been doing a lot of theatre, then I'm dying to do a TV part or something. If I've been doing a lot of television, I'm dying to do a film part. I just have a low threshold of boredom. It's as simple as that. I enjoy them all.
I hasten to add, I'm not trying to send you back to Australia, but it seems to me that the film industry is so vibrant there.
I know, it developed after I left, you see. This is the important thing. I left and it flourished.
I cannot believe you're claiming credit for that. Will you ever return there and either live there, be domiciled there?
I'm asked to do films there from time to time. I just haven't had a chance to do one yet, but one day I would like to.
What is the next path that awaits you?
I'm going to do something which hasn't been announced, so I can't tell you about it, and I'm also planning to do some stage work.
Thought you'd never get here.
Well, I hope you don't expect me to save you, because I don't do that anymore.
Don't worry. I'm long past saving. Well, don't let me keep you from anything.
I'm not in a rush. What did you have in mind?
Lots of things.
Oh, yeah?
Ooh. If you'll just do me one little favor first.
What's that?
Well, see, there's this little boat, and it's not going where it's supposed to go, and...
Well, he has a degree in psychology, I believe, clinical psychology, and he was...
Failed.
He was here at the beginnings of commercial ITV. Dick Lester.
When you were 3, I believe.
It's quite a background, isn't it, for Superman movies?
It is. It's prepared me for absolutely nothing in my life. I think you'll find that anything to do with psychology and anything to do with live television equips you for very little.
Actually, it's a great pity you said that, because I was going to get on...
you were hoping.
I was going to get on to the fact that in this Superman movie, you brought out so many more facets of the character.
Well, when you deal with, as we did in Superman 2, the destruction of all of Manhattan and people coming in from outer space, it's a bit difficult as an act to follow it. So we thought we would go the other way and start very small. And in fact, we really wanted to start the whole film on a Matchbox cover and work out, which we nearly did. And I thought it would be nice to try to see if we could make a Superman film that would be entertaining to normal audiences who like excitement and like the adventure and the flying, but still would appeal to perhaps a slightly wider audience who likes some sense of reality.
You in fact took over the second and the third Superman movies, so the first Superman the movie had already been done.
It had. I was a producer, uncredited, of Superman, the first film. I used to smile at the director and then smile at the producers and come home with my face very stuck and in great pain.
Was there a problem whenever you then took it over yourself to add something new? Because the flying business is obviously one of the mainstays.
I think the only thing that I tried to do is to allow there to be scenes between characters where they could... that's an act called the Harmonica Rascals. They pass by every now and again.
Do you think we should have tipped them?
Now, where there is a chance, apart from special effects, for people, for actors to act naturally and to have a light touch. I think the danger in a very specialized special effect film is everybody saying, for God's sake, don't move, stay on your mark, be careful, because we're adding 6 other effects to that, and the actor freezes. And I wanted to get as much lightness and comedy into both the second film and the third one. So we split up, having an action sequence and then a light comedy sequence where there were just people going into rooms and sitting down and behaving like normal folk.
Is there a danger of making Superman too human? Because he is a very, very sort of heroic individual, isn't he?
Well, I hope that there are moments where the heroism comes out, and I hope that we've given Christopher a chance to explore other facets, because otherwise we are just merely repeating, and you could call it Superman 2 Beasts or 2.5. And I think that, provided that the straightforward Superman audience isn't lost in this film, we have enlarged the horizons. But I think both Christopher, I, and indeed the writers, we all feel that now that we have done this, that this is about as far as we can go. So we're all scratching our heads and saying we probably think this will be the end.
You started with a very funny comedy sequence of, seemed like 2 or 3 minutes to me. Is that going back to your very early days in British television and movies?
I think it bears some similarity to my early work. It was certainly a delight to do, because one's able to do all those little jokes that you did in a field, but set them in the middle of Manhattan, which is technically more difficult, but the jokes are the same. In fact, I haven't thought of a good joke since '58.
What sort of movies do you enjoy making?
I think that I enjoy the challenge of making every movie. I never would say that they are fun. I don't think that we have fun when we make them, because you've got 140 people you're dragging around by what you hope is exuberance, but in fact is hysteria. And you just try to get through every day's work without wasting too much money, because the money that is wasted is literally just burning pound notes. So I never enjoy it in that sense, but there's a great satisfaction in seeing an audience enjoy it. And then 10 or 15 years later, seeing it on television and finding that you've aged terribly, but the films haven't.
We've had the Musketeers, we've had Superman. Is there another superhero lurking in your brain?
No, I don't think so. I'm the person who is inclined to look around the back of the heroes, as Robin and Marion and a few pieces of that sort. I've always said that if there's a love scene in a film, I'm rather more interested in seeing where the sheets are taken out to the laundry. And I think that's more my game. So I hope there isn't. I don't want to debunk anyone else.
Dick Lester, thank you for chatting to me. You can get out of this tremendous heat now.
A great pleasure. Thanks very much. Thank you.
Give me that again, old buddy. Run it by me just one more time.
$85,000.
Missing.
Embezzled, Mr. Webster. Stolen from the firm.
By whom? That's what I want to know. By whom? Whom?
Here, get a hold of yourself. Nobody else ever will.
I don't know. Who?
In the old days, it was simple. We kept books, we had ledgers, we knew what was going in and what was paid out. If somebody wanted to rob you, well, they'd come in with a gun and say, stick 'em up. Now they get these blasted computers to do their dirty work.
My old friend, you are yesterday. Whoever pulled this caper is tomorrow.
Mr. Webster, it's time for your massage.
Baba, does this woman have the right to burst in without...
No, Vera Simpson, you know my psychic nutritionist.
Hello. If you don't mind, we are trying to hold a meeting here.
Well, why don't you hold your breath instead? Maybe you'll turn blue. Improvement.
Pay attention, people. I am about to take a human life.
Simpson, would you excuse us for a second, please?
Baba, I will not let this woman have the right to...
Mouths closed, ears open.
She's a big pig.
I can't have anyone with me who isn't with me. Now, girls. Simpson? Oh. Well, old chum, what now? Kiss the 85 thou goodbye? Keep on paying the thief his salary until he thinks up more ways to shake the money tree?
He's bound to slip up sooner or later.
Why?
Well, I don't know. That's what they always say in the movies.
No, he won't slip up at all. No, not at all. He'll keep on quietly taking the bread from our mouths. He'll keep a low profile, and he won't do a thing to call attention to himself. Unless, of course, he is a complete and utter moron.
Here we can see the royal car arriving with the royal couple, His Royal Highness Prince Michael of Kent and Princess Michael of Kent. The doors are being opened and the crowds are looking on, obviously very pleased to see this delightful couple arrive. To meet them, we have Tom Nicholas, Robert Webster, Sir Hugh Dundas and Robert Shapiro, and they'll be introducing themselves to her right now. The princess looking absolutely delightful in a The princess looking delightful in a silk outfit down to the ground and a 3/4 length silk jacket, and of course the diamonds and sapphires that go to make up a beautiful lady. Now she's meeting Tom Nicholas, who is one of the 4 to be welcoming Prince and Princess Michael of Kent to the ABC Cinema, and he's the chairman and managing director of Columbia EMI Warner Distributors. Robert Webster, another of the 4 to greet the royal couple, he's also a member of the club's executive board, the Variety Club that is, and was also its chief barker in 1981. Sir Hugh Dundas there, and Jarvis Astaire, a well-known character in the Variety Club. At present he is the chief barker and he'll hold that post until 1984. And there they are meeting the present people. First of all, she's meeting Robert Shapiro, first to be presented to her Royal Highness Princess Michael of Kent. Then she's going on to Richard Fox, the Vice President of Sales for Warner Brothers International. And his responsibilities embrace the whole of the international market of Canada and the United States. Obviously a delighted Richard Fox there smiling. Dune Campbell, another member of the party to greet the royal couple. He's the chairman of the council of the Newspaper Press Fund, and he was editor-in-chief of Reuters and then moved to a public relations position under Lord Barnston at United Newspapers. Sir Edward Pickering, and he's the president of the Newspaper Press Fund, the oldest organisation of journalists and their major charitable trust. Princess moving up the line now. Princess Michael looking absolutely radiant this evening and obviously enjoying herself tremendously. And she's now meeting Alexander Salkind, the presenter of Superman 3. A most illustrious filmmaker who is responsible for the making of Superman, of course. And next door to him, Jarvis is introducing his son Elia, who worked closely with his father for the original Superman film, Superman the movie, of course. Prince Michael talking to Alexander Salkind.
Very exciting. How long does it take?
Richard Lester now being presented to Her Royal Highness Princess Michael of Kent. The director of Superman 2 and now 3. He spent 22 years in the film industry. Paul Kaethler, who plays Ricky Lang in the film Superman 3. Prince is talking to Ilya Salkind, as I say, the son of Alexander Salkind. It's really the culmination of 4 to 5 years' work to get the Superman films on the road. Mark McClure, who plays Jimmy Olsen in the film, the photographer. Princess Michael obviously enjoying talking to him. He plays the intrepid photographer on the Daily Planet newspaper. And Mark is another actor with a long acting career behind him. And of course, Annie Ross, the famous jazz singer, of course, had a long career in show business, most recently appearing in Pirates of Penzance. She now lives in London, but I gather she enjoys escaping to the Scottish Highlands to pursue one of her greatest loves, and that's fishing. Next door to her, about to be presented to the royal couple, Pamela Stephenson, of course. She needs no introduction, I'm sure. Looking absolutely devastating in a pink dress, which is quite revealing, and obviously very good for this sort of weather too. Totally unpredictable, but very talented lady. She too has been in Pirates of Penzance and was even filming that. And here is the Prince talking to Richard Lester, the director of Superman 2. And now the star of the films, Christopher Reeve, talking to Princess Michael of Kent. Very handsome man, accompanied tonight by his girlfriend Gay Exton. Before Superman, he was really a relatively unknown actor, but suddenly when Superman the movie appeared in our cinemas, he achieved international stardom. And an interesting point here, Christopher not only flies in the guise of Superman, but he's also an accomplished pilot. Prince Michael talking to Annie Ross, someone who we can claim to actually be British born and bred. In the film, she plays the part of Ross Webster's demanding and rather overpowering sister, Vera. Now the presentation of the bouquet to Princess Michael of Kent. And we have a little girl. There are 2 little girls, in fact, Naomi Goodman, I understand, and Catherine Gorman. And they are daughters of people who are both prominent members of the Variety Club of Great Britain.
Well, as the royal party take their seats for the European premiere of Superman 3, it's good night from Susan and me. We leave you with a last look at the film with Christopher Reeve and Richard Pryor winging their way through the wonderful world of Superman.
How you doing there, Gus?
Please don't talk to me. I'm having enough trouble just hanging on.
Okay, we'll go slow. You're perfectly safe.
I'm not going to argue with you. I mean, any man who can trick my machine can do anything. How did you beat my defenses?
Well, those defenses are pretty good as long as the machine doesn't know it's in trouble. This time it didn't see the danger. I just went in there with a plain old can of acid. The machine didn't know that when that stuff gets hot enough, it'll leap through anything. Watch the trees. I guess it died of acid indigestion.
But what's going to happen to Rasta Boss and the other 2 ladies?
Well, they're going to have to see the police now. It's not your problem anymore.
Whoa! Are we metropolis yet?
Nope. I'm just going to make a little stop right over there.
Ooh.